thing you have to think about, I would assume, I mean, it's pretty obvious, when you design a game, you first of all have to think the house needs to win. There's got to be a slight edge there. You got to be able to prevent cheats, and you also got to be able to stop those guys, the advantage players that can beat the game.
Exactly. Now, one of the things I want to start out in this area is that, and this is going to make no sense to a lot of people, but the casino and the player are actually a partnership. It's not an adversarial relationship.
Explain that.
95% of the people that come to casinos are, high school principals, doctors, teachers, computer programmers, and they're there to drink a glass of wine and let their hair down and try their luck.
Yeah, they want to watch a rock and roll band, have a nice dinner, play some slots, have some fun.
Exactly. And these are basically what we call the recreational players, the clean players, if we may say that, because they're there in good faith, straight up, just not looking to abscond with money through nefarious means. They just want to have fun. If they're lucky, they win, they leave a winner. If not, it was money well spent because it was a great night.
Right.
And these are the people that are really important to the operators and the reason for our existence. Gaming is a recreation. It's like the movie industry. It's like going out to a restaurant. It's like going out to a show. You're there to have fun and the excitement of gambling, really. Now, we're not enemies, the casinos and the players, and we actually wouldn't exist without one another, But it's where the cards and the dice decide who's the winner and who is favored. It's not, anything nefarious or the dealer trying to shade or do anything to the deck. It certainly matters for a player who wins and loses that night. The dealer's work, is the same no matter who wins or loses, and he really doesn't care. It's not his money. And this is hard for people to see and to believe, from their own, money-concerned point of view. But it really is, the dealer doesn't care. The dealer's only job is to be a referee. The casino is a referee of the card results or the dice results, and they, the dice and the cards make the call, and the dealer simply does the take and pay. He doesn't care who wins or loses, but there's a belief that he does otherwise in a lot of gamblers. And that is one of the things I really wanted to stress is that, you're in partnership with the casino against or for luck. The casino is not the enemy, it's a service provider. And this is a very alien concept to a lot of gamblers, and especially to advantage players, because they tend to take the view that the casino has to be the enemy, partly to justify, what they're doing. Now, I want to get on to how the casino makes its money. It makes its money not by charging an admission fee or like a movie house or giving you a bill like a restaurant. It does it by charging 1 or 2 percentage points. A game, instead of being 50-50, it's really 49-51 or 48-52. And it has to be that way in order for the people to get paid and the lights to stay on and all of that jazz. So games are designed with a tiny edge, and the casino makes it up by the volume of the action. They trust the math. They don't want to scam any individual player or anything like that. They trust the math and volume to take care of that particular income need. Now, would you do anything to breach that house edge that is official and is required to be there? It's a little bit like sneaking into the movie house through the fire door for free. And that's the analogy that I use. But when you destroy the house edge to try to make money as a blind-out career, as an AP player, it doesn't cost the casino. The casino is always going to make its money. They'll have tougher rules. They'll have a higher house edge. So what happens is that Mr. and Mrs. high school principal end up footing the bill for an AP player, to take some extra unwarranted cash. And that is a problem because the people who are going there in good faith to let their hair down, to have fun, are actually covering the tab for somebody to call this a job. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And my position is that game protection is the responsibility of the casino, and it's also the responsibility of the manufacturers like Galaxy, like Shufflemaster, to make these games as trouble-free and as fair as possible, and to have them not be fraudable and have this situation occur. Now, it's the kind of thing where, like I said, Mr. and Mrs. High School principal, instead of paying $80, might pay $120, for their gambling night because of issues of AP and other things of that nature. And it does have its costs. And the casinos seem to be a little behind the advantage players because the advantage players are really dedicated, almost compelled, to do what they're doing. It's, an exciting and illicit way to do something, but the casino workers and the managers, they have mundane lives. It's a workaday thing. When they go home, they're not figuring out, how to stop anything there with their wives and their kids. So the average casino worker is up against essentially what is a Navy SEAL team. And, a lot can be done. And there's a little bit of an attitude that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But there's also a bit of a drive. Let's evolve. Let's become better at what we're doing. And we will see the efficiencies given back to us if we do that.